Good morning. Thank you, everyone is able to join me during this Real Housewives of Salt Lake City live. This is Sandra Pease, Gen Extra. Welcome. Thank you so much, everyone that's able to join me during the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City recap, live, rant. The higher the hair, the closer the gourd. And that is not a Whitney Rose saying, even though she is the person we hear say it on screen. Dolly Parton said that. Barbara Walters was being her usually shady, jealous self, and she tried to get Miss Dolly the way that she tried to get the boss, Diana Ross, about her hair. And Dolly said, the higher the hair, the closer to God. Okay, so that's the name of this episode as well. We are in season 6. We're on episode 10. This season has been chugging along. The mid-season preview looks really good, and I'm still looking forward to it. I still enjoy watching it. Still coming down from my BravoCon excitement. Those of you that follow Sandra Pease Gen Extra went on a journey with me to BravoCon in Las Vegas for 3 days. I got there on Thursday. It ran Friday through Sunday. 3 event-filled, event-packed days. And one of my favorite panels was the Salt Lake City panel of ladies. So, and the only thing I didn't like about that panel, they had 2 co-hosts, not co-hosts, but they host some type show. That is how Bravo does a lot of their moderating. They'll pluck someone out of the Bravo verse that covers Bravo. And a lot of them are people that, of course, some of the larger creators, but they're people that not everyone is familiar with. And some of them were more interested in promoting themselves to me than promoting, the panel they were on or asking questions. The real good parts would come from the audience questions. They really did. So we're going to start out with Heather and Whitney. Everyone come in, join the live, press the like button. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Again, I am Sandra Pease Gen Extra. Welcome. This is where I hang out and chill. So if you see me live, you see Muhammad Ali in the background, you see me in one of my t-shirts, I'm ready to just talk silly and have somebody in here with me. I pre-record like this also. But luckily, I've been able to do more lives than pre-records, but you're welcome to all. Team Replay, as always, is always welcome. Click the like button and subscribe if you're not already. We'll start out with Heather and Whitney. After the very eventful Nevis trip and the plane ride to return, Brittany is still very down. So we see Whitney. Whitney is in the cutest Louis silky looking sweatsuit. So that's the style. They're coming to her home. She's welcoming them into her home. Whitney's home is one of the ones that I really love. I love how Salt Lake City, Utah is laid out. If you know me already, you know I grew up in Yonkers. Sidewalks, hilly. Utah has mountains and hills, but the neighborhoods they're flat and there's sidewalks. So we get to see scenes with them walking. Whitney will usually be out. Her kids will be riding bikes. She'll be running behind them. We'll see Angie walking the dog. Mary pull up to somewhere with a sidewalk. Bronwyn. We saw Heather, Gay, and Meredith take a walk. Walking communities are my favorite. I'm in a city now by choice for the past 2 decades that had not done a lot with that as far as their city planning. And it's not the greatest, y'all. It is not. But I point that out to say Whitney Rose has one of my favorite real housewives homes. Lived in, but beautiful, elegant. She's having the ladies over and she is dressed in her silky Louis sweatsuit. Welcome into one of my moderators, Mama Bees. Thank you so much for joining me during the live. I actually just started Salt Lake City. So this is season 6, episode 10. And I was just going on a rant about Whitney's lovely home, which I love. It's a real neighborhood, I'll say that. So Whitney and Heather are talking, and Whitney says she takes on situations where people are down and she tries to cheer them up. Whitney tells us that in a confessional. She and Heather are just talking about what they have planned. Whitney has laid out a lot of stuff: charcuterie boards, fruit, cut up fruit. She has her veggie tray is a bit of a problem. She made it herself. She asked Heather if something stinks. Heather's like, yeah, I kind of smell it. She said, I opened a tray of broccoli. It's made my house smell. Ooh, worst nightmare. Light a candle. Or my mother used to put vanilla on a tray on the oven and just, not the oven, but the stove, one of the stove tops, turn that on, open a few windows, spray something. There's different things you can do, but that broccoli is no joke. I love it, but it does stink. Lisa comes in. She's carrying a cute, huge Louis Vuitton purse that says fake in yellow lettering. So I found that really funny. We get a confessional with Angie. And she is saying, seeing Britney so hurt, I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. Now, Angie was a few rows up. She didn't hear everything, but she has heard what happened, and she's appalled. Also, Angie was just coming back from being ill and feeling a little bit better. Welcome, everyone that comes in during the live. Cece, thank you so much. Cece's at work probably and just in the bushes. I appreciate you as you come in. I appreciate you whatever time. Everyone, actually, but particularly Cece and Mama Bees, two of the moderators. Thank you so much. So Bronwyn is invited. Now, Bronwyn chickened out on the flight, as we remember. There was scandal going on about, not Todd that time, Bronwyn's sealed and buried charges, okay? The sealed files that she talks about everybody else's files, but we can't talk about Bronwyn's files and charges because they've been sealed, okay? So she skipped out on the flight to and the flight from, that's not Nevis, I'm sorry, I got my shows mixed up, Kanawha. Salt Lake City ladies went to Kanawha. My recent review, Potomac, if you haven't watched it, they had a recent return from Nevis. So we know these Housewives girls trips are very action-packed, relationships are impacted, fans are impacted, home life, everything, and they talk about it and they come down and heal from it for some time after. But these ladies flew halfway around the world and they were on Captain Jason's yacht for 4 days. I can tell you that this trip was so good. I'm looking forward to the crossover episode that they actually do. I sat on a couple of panels where Captain Jason was on one, Chief Stu, Daisy was on one, and they have a lot to say about the ladies and about the episode, and they're going to film it for the crossover. So Britney was hurt after that, and it was the flight back. She was brutalized on that yacht, but the flight back was what kind of sealed the deal. Now, Bronwyn's only invited because she wasn't a part of that flight, but I'll make no mistake about it. If Bronwyn had been on that flight and she had been in that third seat, along with Lisa and Meredith, Bronwyn would have jumped in and been one of the bigger bullies. So Bronwyn gets a confessional. I'm sorry about everything that happened, but I would like to admit that I may have been the catalyst. I may have set it off with throwing Britney's unicorn over. T, okay, this is T from Salt Lake City. Meredith getting tired of everybody saying what she did. I've always said Bronwyn stole the unicorn and was instrumental in the reason why that part of the bullying started. Meredith is saying, people saying I threw it over. Watch the scene again. I didn't throw it over. Now, Meredith, I don't know if they showed us who threw it over. It was like a corny little ceremony. This week they did. Bronwyn is in the shark costume. She threw it over. And she made a premonition a couple of times. I'm going to throw this thing overboard. The first time Britney showed her that talking silly unicorn from Jared Osmond, still her property. So Bronwyn has admitted to being responsible for that, and she feels badly about it now. Think she feels badly about the aftermath. Bronwyn switched over from being one of my favorite newbies. It's her sophomore season. I still admire her fashion. I still like certain things about her. I don't care for Bronwyn as much as I did before she did this cowardly act. That's just how I feel. But Bronwyn is a huge BravoCon hit. They loved her. She was a fan favorite there, and I see her very differently. I don't care for her as much. I think she's a mean girl. So Angie, as they get in, Angie's puffing everybody's hair up. This is the high body count hair. That's become one of the iconic phrases. People were at BravoCon in high body count hair t-shirts. The question came up. Erica Jane tried to throw a dig. Erica Jane is just a jealous, bitter, mean ice princess. Sometimes it's funny and sometimes it's a little cruel. I don't care for it. She's like a Cruella de Vil in real life. Very tall, very skinny. If somebody dared you, you couldn't pinch an ounce of fat on Erica. And I guess that's why she's mad. She's mean as hell. That's how she walks around. So Angie's puffing everybody else's hair up to try to give this high body count here. Now, Erica Jane, you knew that that's an iconic phrase because she was on a stage with Angie. Andy had a panel. It was a shade panel or something. Andy is a mean boy, too. Andy is a mean person. He's not as mean as Jeff Lewis. I still like Jeff Lewis, but Jeff Lewis is not socially appropriate at all. Clips has their album. This is culturally inappropriate. That's Jeff Lewis. Jeff Lewis grew up sheltered and he can do and say anything and does. But I bring that up because Erica Jane said, Andy's mean, shady. It wasn't, he said it was shady. It was mean. The shady question among all this stage of beautifully dressed women and Reza's coming back. Who is the worst dressed up here? And immediately they all start looking at each other, and then the light goes to land on someone. It lands on Erica Jane. Oh, I can't even remember her name. I don't know who she is, but high body count here. That's what she called Angie K. Y'all, Angie K immediately started blushing. Angie K looked about 13 years old. I forgot who was sitting next to her tapping her. No, she's not really saying that. That's not what she means. Oh, it was the lawyer. I can't stand her either. But she felt bad. Emily from OC. Erica said, the audience was like, ugh, because Angie K is a fan favorite. Don't think Erica Jane doesn't know that. So Erica Jane, she's very calculated and smart. She read the room. She said, no, I'm saying she's too pretty a girl, too pretty a lady to be in emerald green. And Angie K was being swallowed up at the time in an emerald green two-piece suit, like a dinner suit. It was cute. Erica Jane was dressed like a Barbie, a geriatric Barbie. So I guess it depends on what you like. But Salt Lake City is that girl. Everybody was jealous, okay? They realized it's a fan favorite. Portia even threw shade. She thinks they're overrated. And then she lied and said, nobody's overrated. We're getting our flowers too. But the Real Housewives ladies know what it is. Angie's puffing up everybody's hair with the high body count hair. Brown one has short hair, so they added. It was cute. Angie K thought of brown one. She clipped in some clips, and she's teasing that, okay? So Mary said, you're not touching my hair. Mary was in her good wig. It's straight down the middle. I think that might have been her hair along the sides, and then it seemed like something was added, but she didn't let Angie touch it. I don't blame Mary. And it was just kind of ruining everybody's hair, but it was puffing up. They were good sports. Again, they were at home. They're not going out. They're at Whitney Rose's house. So everyone gets there. They lay out the last of the charcuterie, the snack food, everything. Mary and everybody they start all eating. So Whitney says, I'm going to send a message to Brittany. Walk straight in and come in the back. So they're all kind of like a daytime pajama party. And Brittany comes in. She just walks in. And she says, and they said, surprise. She said, oh my God, I love this. We get a confessional from Brittany. She pulls up a drink to make an announcement. Ding, ding, ding. That's her thing. That's another fan favorite, y'all. She did that on a panel. And the two content creator ladies tried to make fun of her. Oh, Brittany, you have a straw. We can't hear you clink, clink, clink. And she said, that's because you're supposed to go clink, 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 clink. And the fans did laugh with her. Thank you, Cece. Thank you so much. So Brittany's pretty popular. She's a friend of, again, she shared the stage with the panel, received as many questions and as much love as anybody else. So I love the production flashes. They flash back and show us all the many times Brittany ding, 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 to make important announcements that usually aren't. They're along the lines of, Jared and I broke up. Jared and I are back together, or just whatever. But she was very popular. She even sang during their Salt Lake City. I might do like a breather after BravoCon so I can bring up all the things that I have forgotten and didn't bring up so they won't spill all throughout my reviews. But I think I'll do that. I did a day 1 and day 2, so check those out. But I didn't do day 3 or just like a follow-up final thoughts. I need to do that. So Brittany wipes away non-existent tears. I haven't figured out if it's that she's had work done or if that does something with the tear ducts, but she's doing a cry face. I call it a cry face when they're not really crying. I wish Brittany would do better with her daughters. That would be the thing that would catapult her. Because there's something about me that can't feel right with her as long as she thinks that's all right. What Olivia told us and showed us, Olivia was there, y'all. Big applause. Jared kind of got booed. But what she's doing with the daughters, I can't see it for Brittany because of that. So Bronwyn, confessional from her saying she is glad to see Brittany. Mary still does not see it for Brittany, but Mary is not actively mistreating Brittany. She does something on this luncheon I didn't care for, but it was okay. So we find out that Meredith is still not taking the blame. They don't know if she's going to be here. Mama B's, The Cult of the Real Housewives about Mary Cosby, look like it's going to be so good. I'm going to have to watch that, Mama B's. Maybe we'll do a live to discuss that. Kiwan JTV, welcome in. One of my fellow content creators followed me through BravoCon from a distance and was very supportive. Thank you so much. Kiwan JTV, welcome in. Hey, Sandra in chat. She's speaking to everyone. So yeah, that's going to be worth watching. So the ladies are wondering if Meredith and Lisa are going to come to Whitney's house. No, Whitney purposely didn't invite them. So that is okay. So there, which I love this, y'all, there's a Teddy Mobile. It is a portable kind of Build-A-Bear, not Build-A-Bear, that's a brand, but it's a portable Teddy Mobile. It has the stuffing inside. It looks like, what do you eat? The cotton candy. It looks like a cotton candy machine, but it's that stuffing. And then he's got all these little stuffed animals you can choose from. Their shell. You blow them up. You can record them. They have the little thing on their hand. You can record them. Bronwyn says, I'm looking forward to replacing this. I know that I destroyed her property because that was my problem with Bronwyn. They played it for laughs. And at BravoCon, they cheered and they still played it for laughs. And Britney is so glad that they've made up with her. She's playing it for laughs. But watch that episode, y'all. That was Mean Girl. It was dangerous. Bronwyn never intended anybody to know what she did. She lied when she was found out. I'm going to always go back to this because this is the moment that my feeling toward Bronwyn actually changed. We'll see if she could change it back, but I don't know. So Bronwyn's saying, I don't like to see anyone that hurt, and I hope to replace it. She said, maybe I'll record a corny message and spiral up to the top of Britney's like list the way Jared has. See, she always saying real slick stuff. I don't mind the shade, but Bronwyn, you attacked and brutalized, stole from, and then destroyed someone's property. Now you're laughing, but she finds it funny. Heather is saying that she's thankful that Whitney brought them all together for this encouraging environment. I think they realized how bad it looked. I think they realized what the optics were, a lot of the real life thing that happened in my area. The young lady, I won't even summon her name, but she is not forgotten. I know someone in a circle of the little young girls that age. Okay, because this person did hair. It had multiple businesses. The jealousy on that yacht was real. I don't care if they change it around and make it cute. This was real. This was real. And they don't want to be the dark show. So I get it. I understand. Mama B's, Grand Rising, Kiwan JTV. She doesn't like to say good morning. She says Grand Rising, okay? So that is, morning is supposed to have a negative connotation, but it's just so entrenched. We say it, but you're going to get a Grand Rising from Mama B's. And I return in kind when I remember to do it. So Grand Rising. Thank you so much, Mama B's. Kiwan spoke back. So we are at Whitney's house. And this is going to be my question at BravoCon. I didn't get up in time to ask it. They start lining up at the mics well before question time. There's a few things they need to tweak. Britney was carrying around that stupid unicorn on a panel. So I got tea on that afterward. Bronwyn also offered to take Jared to record another one. I got tea on that. Okay, so we find out that, oh no, this is my own tea. I won't forget to tell it. I won't forget to tell it. So we do see where Bronwyn's premeditated when she threw it over. Production, thank production for keep showing us that. When Britney shows it to her and they check into their yacht room, before anything had even gone down between them, Bronwyn says, I'm going to throw that effing thing overboard. So she was acting like it was a joke, but it's not. Whitney says, so they show us doing the recordings. Whitney's was a cute little owl. It says, I love you, Britney. You are so strong and courageous. I love you so much. Angie said something in Greek. I think it said, you have beautiful hair and I love you. Heather just says, I love you. I'm glad we're friends. Bronwyn says, you're a star, Britney. Still joking. So they asked Mary, tell us what you're going to say. Mary said, you'll hear it. This is one of the things Mary did I didn't care for. Mary Cosby was a huge Bravo celebrity, superstar. They loved Mary, okay? And I did too. Mary's naturally funny. She's very small. She's very pretty. She's got the little baby face and she's something about her mouth like, Mary Cosby is going to be there as long as she wants to. We'll just say that. So then they press on Mary, the bear that Mary made for Britney. It says nothing. Mary, this was kind of mean. I don't like this. This is shades of Giselle. Like, oh, you're nothing. And they said, Mary, why didn't you say anything? Mary doesn't say anything. And Bronwyn had to put a positive spin on it. She says, well, a year ago, she would have had it record something mean. So Brittany says, that's an improvement. I love you too. How can you hate Brittany? Somebody like that is just kind of mean to hate him. She says, I love you too. So somebody says she had to add the two. The ladies were laughing. We get a confessional with Mary that says, are you warming up to Brittany? Confessional Mary says, no. And then she says, she made me mad on the boat. So we see a fight that I don't think we saw with Mary and Brittany. They got into it a little bit, but Mary says, Brittany, you are not cool. You are not cute. And Brittany says, you're the most unChrist-like person I've ever met. So yeah, I can see why y'all fell out a little bit. You hit Mary in her religion. She's not going to like you. Whitney Rose did that years ago, and they're just now getting better. So Whitney says, what Meredith did, I'm having a hard time coming back from. And I can say that because I feel we're in a safe space. So code word for Heather, if this gets back to Meredith, it gets back to her. But I'm in my house. I'm talking to the people that I have invited. And if it gets out, we know what's up. So that's basically what she says. Bronwyn jumps in and says, I just spoke with Meredith. And Bronwyn gets this look on her face like she's telling somebody's business. I just spoke with Meredith. She says, I was having a private conversation quietly with my friend. Brittany was in headphones and she should not have been overhearing or eavesdropping on my conversation. Heather's mouth is hanging open. She's doing that inbred thing that Mary says she does. So Heather says, I spoke to Lisa. They said, when? She said, yesterday. She's completely effing crazy. She said, she's trying to change my mind that none of it happened. I tell y'all which one I think is worse. Listening to and hearing different things about Meredith, and this is all allegedly, and in my opinion, as all the reviews are. Y'all, we're here for fun. This is all good fun. Everything said is alleged in my own personal opinion. And then if I run any clips, there's a copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, 1976. So Lisa and Meredith, I do believe everything the other ladies are saying about the plane flight back. Only thing saving Bronwyn is she wasn't there. She would have been bullying too. But the fact that they are now trying to stick to their story, clear it up, convince the ladies that none of this actually happened. I don't know whether or not but I don't know whether or not Meredith remembers what happened. I saw her DJ set. And she, I don't know. There's rumors about her. It's not drinking. She's not an alcoholic, but there are sleep meds. I'll just say this as an aside and take with it what you will. I know someone that was diagnosed with some type of sleep problem and was given a sleep, something to induce sleep. I won't say the name because it's a brand name. And they wouldn't remember things that they did overnight. Now, you're supposed to be sleeping, right? No, you could sometimes be up walking because they would advise you to do something different with your locks on the inside. You could be up walking. You could be up eating. You could be up washing clothes. So I think something happened, but when you sleep, whatever you fell asleep with your mind on, you're acting that out. So this brand name drug, and it's prescribed much, much less, would cause that. Something like that could have been with Meredith. Now, between Lisa and Meredith, who's worse? I don't dislike Lisa Barlow. A lot of people do. She could be a horrible person, but I think Lisa's worse, y'all. Lisa has no excuse. You had a couple of drinks. You are fully, you're in your right mind. So I don't like this between the two of them, but I don't think Meredith knows. Oh yeah, they bullied Brittany. They bullied her on the yacht. They bullied her on the flight. They tried to kind of bully her a little bit at BravoCon, but she was joking about it so much. She has another unicorn. So, and I can give you the tea on that. I'll just spill that in now. Jared, when he found out what happened, recorded and gave her a new unicorn. She said she got it delivered to her within 2 days of her being back. So this was something that everybody realized how serious it was. It was bullying. It was horrific. And this was terrible. Thank you, Mama Bees. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and share the video to keep the channel in the algorithm. Thank you. I am a growing channel, and I appreciate all of the support from my subscribers. I appreciate all of you so much. So all the ladies that are there are realizing this is not going to be a good look, and we cannot stand with the other two on this. So Whitney says she's not going to be able to really come back from Meredith unless, Heather says, unless there's some accountability and they're able to admit that what they did was wrong. Now, just advice for them. They all have daughters, except Lisa. Lisa has 2 sons, Henry and Jack. But Meredith has a daughter. Meredith, Chloe, as pretty as she is, when she's on Next Gen NYC, she kind of fades into the background because right now they're fixated and focused on Riley, who can't lay low if she tried because she's Black excellent. She's Black girl magic. And when you're mustard amongst mayonnaise, you're going to stand out. But if Chloe were treated like this, I know that Meredith Marks would have a problem with it. And that should, if someone said that to her, I think that would be enough. We saw how she reacted when she felt Brooks was being bullied. Matter of fact, her whole family came up at the end of her DJ set. Of course, Seth is up there. Just corny. Brooks and Chloe are really proud of her and they love their mom. I think it has to be, Meredith Marks is the type of person you'll have to bring it home. How would it impact you? And then she'll see that that's wrong. Mayo, Riley's mustard, spicy mustard, golden. Because Riley is so, Kenny's like, I don't know how she's going to do it because she's so quiet and just cool and laid back and straightforward. And Riley is the star of that show. When they talked about Next Gen NYC, they talk about Riley. They do. And I can't imagine the show without her. And I think it's supposed to be, honestly, Brooks' show. And Brooks, I hope he'll settle in. I'd like to see less of Meredith and Seth. We can sprinkle in the parents, but when they come back, we don't want to see that much. But they're coming back in a big way, y'all. They were popular at BravoCon. All their panels were always full. Whatever they were involved in, they had people around them. And I'm glad that the show is a hit. So Whitney says, can I bring something up, Bronwyn? Bronwyn's like, yeah, you're at home. Bring up what you want to bring up. I noticed you're not wearing your wedding ring. Now, remember last week, these two had a talk about how freaky they could get if they wanted to. So Bronwyn says, yeah. Whitney knows that Todd has moved out for a couple of days. We get a confessional with Bronwyn. And Bronwyn is saying that Todd works 3,000 miles away from her 5 days a week, I think she said. So they live in Utah. Does Todd work in New York? I don't know, but he has a high-level, high-powered job. We get back to the group of ladies. She's telling the ladies that Todd was on a recent flight. Someone was over his shoulder or near him and saw him texting and receiving pictures of women that were not Bronwyn. So Heather is in a confessional. Last year, Bronwyn opened up about insecurities in her marriage. It doesn't seem to be improving. So Bronwyn says the humiliation and secrecy is what bothers her. She says they need to have a life-changing conversation. And that is going to come up in this episode, at least one of them. I think they need to have more than one. So I think Bronwyn either wants to leave this marriage, y'all, or open it up. It's already opened up on Todd's side, in my opinion, but she wants to do something different. She's only 39 years old, y'all. She said at BravoCon, ooh, I'm approaching the big 4-0. And the audience was screaming and laughing because, honey, 4-0 is indeed 40, but it's not the big, okay? You got a lot more years of life if you're blessed. So I don't know. I don't think Todd's going to be open to this open marriage thing. He just seemed like one of those guys. He's supposed to be constantly forgiving when he does stuff, but I don't think he wants Bronwyn out there like that. So the ladies are talking about it, and they're all supportive of Bronwyn, so that's good. Yeah, you agree about Riley? Yes. The breakout star, hands down. Even when they thought they were bullying her, you know who wasn't there? Oh, Charlie. And I would have accepted Charlie back. I think that we need a nemesis. We need a villain. I think Charlie was that. At least he would show up and record. He'd get dragged from the bottom to the top, but he would show up. I saw a clip of Mary pushing Sheree in a wheelchair running in heels. I guess she's a Sheree stan. Yeah, Bronwyn is she's a fan of the Housewives universe. I'll say that. She loves all the Housewives and they all love her fashion. She had her own, it wasn't her own, it was Rachel Zoe, who's been a Bravo celebrity for years, and one of the first stylists that people would know by name because she would style Paris Hilton, Nikki Hilton. She's known Kathy Hilton for years. So Rachel Zoe, as we know, she's coming back to Beverly Hills. Hands down, the biggest applause out of all the Beverly Hills housewives, including Kyle. So we were anxiously anticipating Rachel Zoe. But Rachel Zoe was on a style panel with Bronwyn. This is unheard of for someone's second season. They added a girl from, I think they said Southern Charm or something like that. Somebody named Benita, a beautiful Black girl, but I don't know her, y'all. I don't know who it was. So they are talking about it, supportive of Bronwyn. Brittany leans over with her little desperate self and says, if you start to give away some of those rings, can I have one? Bronwyn says, yes, you can. She's laughing. Hold her to that, Brittany. So then we see Mary and Robert Cosby Jr. arriving at the church. She's in a red and gray dress. He's in a red and white, some type tracksuit and some, look, I think red Timbs or something. They look cute. Both of them have the same face. I like them. So Mary is telling us that this is the first renovation project of her family's church in over 60 years. Mary is going through, putting her stamp of approval. Everything looks good, but of course, I'm looking for something wrong. Robert Jr. laughs. Mary, is this something that you go through with your son? Everything could be good and you'll look for something wrong. Robert Cosby Jr. says, I guess you're just a natural interior designer. So then we see clips of when her cousin was showing her the church and Mary was finding everything from the blinds were not exactly the same color. So there was a little nail sticking out in one of the cushions that could have been dangerous. So her eagle eye does work. So she says, how are you? Where are you as far as your spiritual place? He says, well, in Malibu, they ask of a higher power. And I know who mine is. And the people that didn't know, every single one of them relapse. So yeah, that is true. I've heard that about when people are struggling with addiction issues. You need it. You need that. He says, I feel like you need it. And I always knew mine. Mary said, did you ask them whether or not they pray or if they should pray? He said, I don't want to push that on anybody. She said, it's not pushing. It's important. And I understand what Mary means. And I don't mean like a specific God. Just I like the way they phrase it, higher power, because that is different for all different people. Mary's telling him, she's encouraging him, with God, nothing's impossible. We found out, y'all, recently that Robert Cosby Jr. had relapsed. He was arrested again, y'all, still breaking into these people's house. Lord, I want this boy to stop this. You can't do this anywhere in the country. You can't be breaking into someone's home, because once you're in their home, you could lose your life. And in some of the states, you can actually lose your life on the front porch. I'm in a state that if I didn't invite you, don't come, okay? So Mary's saying, you need God, you need Jesus, you need help, you need your mind back. Production's being messy and putting up a picture of each one of the housewives as Mary is telling people what they need. So then we got a scene with Lisa and John. They are out at a coffee shop, tea shop with desserts type place. Lisa's getting a lemon loaf. It looks so good. John's getting a scone. They had it looked like lemon whipped cream on top. That looked good. She's like, oh, this looks great. They start out talking about their children, of course, Jack and Henry. They're about 10 years apart. Lisa was saying, I was hoping that when Jack returned from the mission, him and Henry would be closer. And John said, I know, but he may just come back like a butthole like I did with my brother. Lisa agrees. Yeah, you are a douchebag. Lisa, you are so foul. John's just looking at her. We get a confessional with Lisa. This is one of my favorite confessional looks. This is Salt Lake City Lisa. She's in the 10-gallon hat. So she's saying things are still off with her and John, and that they had a situation in the car the other day. She's upset because she was talking to her son, Henry, giving him advice. And she said, John was telling me how to do it. I'll say what I think about that later. Said, John corrected me when I was giving advice to Henry, and I don't like that. I'm a grown woman. I don't want to be corrected. So they're back at the scene in the coffee shop. And she was saying, you upset me so badly the other day in the car. He's like, which time? John does like to poke at Lisa. Which time? So she was saying, when I was talking to Henry, and she said, I was just telling Henry what I thought. He said, were you telling Henry what you thought, or you were telling Henry what you want him to think? Lisa's looking confused. Like, what's different about that? I understood the distinction John was making. Lisa says, lately in the marriage, she feels invisible. John says, should I not say anything if you're saying something to Henry that may not be what I feel? She's saying, well, you can speak, but don't tell me how to talk. He's like, I don't tell you how to talk, but he said, what I give to Henry is going to be different than what you do. And this is true. That's what I think about it. Henry is, the baby boy. Lisa is his mom. What he's going to get from John as a father and as a man is just different. So John said, if there's guy things that I'm talking with Henry about, it is going to be different. So they agree to disagree on that. So he said, I'm not telling you how to talk. It's just from a guy's perspective. They disagree on that. John says, I don't tell you how to talk. Lisa starts interrupting the man again. He said, you did the other day. So we get a confessional with Lisa again. Her 10-gallon hat is saying, it's hard enough. I'm with a group of girls that are committed to not seeing me, to not understanding me. I think Lisa feels like if you don't agree with her, you don't see her or understand her. That is something, I know people like that. You can't do anything with that. Remove yourself. They need deep therapy. You can't constantly try to fix somebody's crown and they think they're perfect and nothing's wrong. And if you disagree, you're wrong. I'm telling you in advance, don't waste your breath. Okay. So Lisa said, sometimes you don't listen. John said, a lot of times I don't listen. Lisa says, I'm a great listener. John busted out laughing. And then he's on his phone like, what? Lisa said, don't even do it, John. Are you serious? Are you serious? Don't even. So we realized John is mocking how Lisa, the great listener, listens to him. She's on her phone and then he has to repeat what he said. So he's, what? So I believe, John, that Lisa does do that. So Lisa continues to proclaim herself a great listener. And she says, I don't feel like we are on the same page. And he said, that's because you want me on your page. Y'all, they've had this conversation. This is a rerun. Lisa's not receiving this. And she said, we used to always be on the same page and even finish each other's sentences. We're not like that anymore. John says, I feel like because all we talk about is business and maybe we're getting to a point where that's all we have to talk about. She said, do you really feel that? He said, how can you not? This is serious cracks, y'all. Feel like I was eavesdropping watching it. This is terrible. So we get Lisa in the confessional and production says, what do you feel like when John says something like that? So she hides under the hat brim. She's like, she got wiping her eyes. She doesn't have her sunglasses, or she put those sunglasses on. She said it makes her feel invisible when he does that. It hurts when he does that. So these two, this is hard, y'all. I don't want to watch another marriage breakdown on TV. I really don't. So they're having a hard time. This was a good conversation, but I hate to see it. So we see Lisa again in the scene with John. She said, John, you don't hug me as much as I do. John says, we're having a communication breakdown. Perfect. I felt the same way. And Lisa she's not aware. She's not taking it in. Something's not clicking. So this is not good. We have another scene in the park with Jared and Britani. Y'all, Jared Osmond think he is a star. And he might be in Vegas. I don't know. I guess he's walking on rarefied air in Vegas. Donnie Osmond still got a show at one of the larger hotels in Vegas is last week. So anytime you can tour for 50 years based on what you did as a child, you're doing something. So Jared and Britani meet. He hugs her and she just takes it all in. Oh, I needed this. Jared has the nerve to be upset about, I'm hearing that you're making friends with all these crew and captain and everybody on the ship. We're supposed to be on a break. So production shows us Britani flirting with Captain Jason, Michael, various male members of the crew. It was all harmless to me, but some people got upset about it, Jared being one of them. And I think Bronwyn was even a little jealous. She kind of lied and said, I didn't know who's coming back to the cabin. That wasn't why Bronwyn wouldn't sleep there, but that's what she said. So Jared's upset. Britani's flirting during this break. Britani was like, what do you care? We're supposed to be on a break. He was like, a break to figure things out. Not that, we're going out with someone else. Now, Jared, you lying. I don't think Jared is the type to be single. Remember, Olivia told that story, coming over between two jobs with a 30-minute break, and this fool showing up at the same time and then making out with her mom in front of her, and Britani not shutting it down. When I think about Britani doing something like that, I get upset with her again. I'm on her side about the bullying, but just what we heard from Olivia, I can't take it. So Jared is gaslighting her again. What I'm looking for is someone who's stable. He's not stable either. Allegedly, he's not in good relationship with his children. So the two of them are train wrecked together. I think Jared, he got ready for the camera, honey. He got his little tight black shirt on. I think he's a piece of ish. I don't like him. He's got his J's on and his little dad jeans. He thinks he looks cute. I don't like him. I guess he's a star in Utah and Vegas. I don't see it. So I just want to cut to the chase with him. I don't want Britani with this man. I think she's making a huge mistake, but if she likes it, I guess we have to love it. She said, I'm just going to take my 30-day break and go. Y'all, they start arguing already. And he's so self-absorbed. Now, they had walked down a little bit from where they were. There in the park, there was a path. She's in a denim dress and her wedge heels. So she walked down, but walking up is a little more difficult. She's like, I'm going to give me this. I'm going to take my 30 days. I'm going to go. She's trying to walk back up, and he's so self-absorbed. He's trying to pose. He sees the camera. He doesn't even help her over the rocks or anything. She had to stumble back up the hill by herself. And he's like, so this is what you're going to do? This is what you're going to do? Giving us his worst lifetime acting. Britney's crying. I'm so tired of this. And she's saying, every time I ask you, what are we? Like, what are we doing? What are we? That's her first problem. She's in her 50s asking a grown man, what are we? He shouldn't get to dictate what they are. If he's not serious and she wants someone serious, I think she should let him go. She said, I just don't know where we're going or what we're doing. So he pulls her and hugs her with one arm, kind of like a friendship arm. And he says, well, I just want you to be stable. We get a confessional with Britney. Said, I'm tired of Jared gaslighting me. Every time I ask him what we are and what we're doing, he comes up with some long answer that doesn't make any sense. So I do give her a little bit of hope because she does know he's gaslighting her. She recognizes it as that. So that's good. I see Jared still a loser. He is, Kiwan. He's a terrible loser. He's the worst. Just terrible. And Britney is the oldest one out of Salt Lake City. Britney's 53 years old. She does not have time if she wants a relationship with a man. I feel like she could focus on her children first, those girls, because they really need her. But if she does want this, she's going to have to move Jared out of her life. He's a loser. He's going to just steal what little time she has, and she's not going to get anything from it. See y'all later. I have to shop for an event. Okay, Mama Bees, I wish you a lot of luck. You find everything you need, and hope we hear a little bit more about the event. Mama B plans and cooks. She is amazing. Yeah, Britney's body is body, but when they close up too much on her face without her makeup, you can kind of see what it is. But yeah, she's the oldest one of the ladies. So she's older than Heather, Meredith, all of them. But they treat her like the youngest because, again, she's friend of, and they don't respect her. And she's in her sophomore season, just like Bronwyn. Even though Bronwyn holds a snowflake, Bronwyn even treats her kind of down. So, and the way I would have cursed Jared Osmond out, from the top of his head to the corny J's. The J's aren't corny, but they're corny on him. I tell you, he laid this outfit out, or either he had a stylist or somebody put it out for him because he thought he was so cute. This is one of the corniest men alive, okay? So now we get a scene with Bronwyn and Todd. Bronwyn coming in. Todd, are you home? He starts on her. Did you lock the door? She said, I did lock the door. He was like, you didn't. Todd treats her like he is her dad. I can't stand it. So they're finally sitting down at home instead of an ice cream shop. So Todd can order a big bowl of ice cream and start pooting all over the place. So Todd needs a stiff drink, y'all. So he gets himself a LaCroix. Looks like the lemon lime. Bronwyn gets a Dr. Pepper. She asked Todd, well, what's going on? He said, I'm moving and grooving. You doing something, Todd, but you're not moving and grooving, okay? The room that they're in, I know Bronwyn styled this. It looks like cruise ships have the place, like Camp Ocean type places one Carnival had, where the kids hang out and play video games and stuff. The colors are really primary and bright. This is what Bronwyn's, I guess, rec room or whatever this is looks like. Looks like a Sesame Street set. So Bronwyn's telling us, in the past, I start feeling not good enough. We get the flashback to where she disclosed Todd's infidelities to the ladies. Again, something about him texting or emailing. So he cheats through the electronics. He kind of sets up things with the ladies. So, and I assume things happen in real life. I don't know, but the way Bronwyn's going about it, it sounds like there are. So in the confessional, Bronwyn's telling us, sometimes I don't feel funny enough or sexy enough. And my partner's always out here looking for something different. So Bronwyn tells Todd, if you wanted to consider an arrangement, I would consider it. Todd is looking at this lady, his wife, like they are in a business meeting. He said, look, here's the thing. We've been through 11 years worth of lots of ups and downs, lots of turmoil, professionally, health-wise. We've always been able to talk through it. And this time we didn't talk about it. Both came in pretty hot, and that was wrong. So Bronwyn says, I want to make it clear there's no weirdness and shame in figuring out what we want. Bronwyn, just say what you want. Again, she's 39 years old. This man is upwards in his 60s. You know what she should do? I know there's a blue pill somewhere. Replace it with a placebo. Do like a blue colored sugar pill. And that'll settle his tail down. because he won't be out there doing all that stuff he think he doing. Todd still think he got it, talking about he moving and grooving. Yes, why would Bronwyn settle? I don't understand it. Kiwan J, it must be the money. Got to be. The Bronwyn is, like I said, they love her. I look at her differently. I don't care for her as much. She's a Bravo celebrity. She's going to hold this snowflake as long as she wants, as long as she's not listening to Todd. She doesn't need Todd at this point. She does not need Todd at this point. She can still have her fashion, her Bravo celebrity, whatever it is she wants. Her daughter is 18 years old. She don't need to still be hanging on. And she says she's no longer a Mormon. So that whole divorce, scarlet D they put over their head, that shouldn't matter. But again, I don't know. I guess the culture is so strong. She's having a hard time. For sure, it's the money. I agree, Kiwan J. For sure. Got to be. So Bronwyn says, I want you to know I had a conversation. I talked to Whitney about you and I's sex life. Todd says, it's nobody's business. I don't understand why you have to share with a group of untrustworthy friends. I like what Bronwyn said. But she didn't say it to him. Bronwyn, you're in a confessional. I hope she told Todd. Confessional Bronwyn says, I value my relationship with Todd. It's not fair to say that I'm only able to have one close relationship and have these close conversations with him only. This is him being older, acting like a dad, and feel like he can tell her who to see, where to go, and who to talk to. I don't like this for Bronwyn. I don't care for her, but I don't want any woman to be kind of under somebody's thumb because he's holding money or whatever it is over her head. So she says it should be fair for her to have close relationships with others. You know, Todd can't stand this group of women. So she's going to eventually have to make a choice. I think she's going to choose the show. I do. And Kiwan J said she doesn't need him, and she doesn't. She tells him in person, you are one of the most important relationship to me, but there are more relationship, or what she means is additional, Bronwyn. There are additional important relationships. He says, okay. So the meeting's over. Todd is the CEO in his whole body. He says, okay, we had a situation. We've resolved it, and we're moving forward. Camera looks at Bronwyn. She's giving one of her faces. They're not moving forward. He says, okay, you're crying. There's no crying in business meetings, y'all. They hate this in the office. You're crying. She says, she's wiping her. She got a Gucci sweater on. I think it's ugly. She said, can I cry in Gucci? He said, I don't know. This is the first thing he said I agree with. He said, I don't know. It's just material. So Bronwyn gonna let these fashions keep her in a prison with this man until she's upwards in her 60s, and then he checks out. And then now what, Bronwyn? It's too late? Are you fashionably dressed 70-year-old? I hope she gets rid of him if that's what she wants. I do. Well, she killed that fashionista panel, sitting there with Rachel Zoe. I'm proud of her. So Mary shows up to church in her red dress. She has been locked out by Lenny. I think Lenny is a fellow pastor, or he's a deacon or somebody, but it was really strange. He lets her in, and then he turned around and ran. So you that scared of Mary, Lenny? Open his door. You know what time Mary comes. So Mary says, this is the first time in years that I actually have to get out and speak in front of the congregation. I'm a little nervous. She said that she always felt like she was called by God to speak before people. So we find out that she doesn't prepare a sermon. She's going to speak from the heart. I think a big part of that, too, is that it's kind of like a reopening. They haven't been in this building in years, I think since COVID. And then she said the renovations have taken like 2 years in and of themselves. So she's working with her cousin, Big Joe. Big Joe has such reverence for Mary. I like him. So he said, come on in, pretty lady in red. He reaches in to give Mary a hug. They have her office tricked out, y'all. White couches, flowers in there. Mary's still saying that she's nervous. Mary seemed like the type to say anything. And even though I noticed she got the biggest applause on Salt Lake City panel, her and Bronwyn. No, and Lisa and Mary. That's a very, very popular panel, because I'm going to name one and I really can't. She probably got the biggest applause, if we had to say. But she seems very quiet. And then, like, unless she's asked something, then she'll pipe in. And sometimes she'll even be like, no, I better not say that. And then when prodded, she'll say it, and it'll be a crazy Maryism. So she's just a very charismatic person. So Big Joe says, you solo today? Mary says, I had Robert Jr. He got in the car and he was high. Y'all, this hit me in the heart. Remember, she asked him, are you ready? And he's like, I'm excited. He was happy for the church to be reopening. And then the last time they met, Big Joe got emotional and said, He's our baby. So he is. He's a prince in that church. He's the church's baby. She says, no, 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 one day at a time. I don't know, y'all. I think she could have brought him. That's the family church. Come as you are. I've been in church with drunk people, high people. I don't know. I think he could have taken it. But Mary explains to us why. She tells Big Joe, I feel like I'm protecting him. I have to be protective of him. So I guess she doesn't want, they're filming that day. Remember, the cast is showing up. So maybe she's protecting him from that. But high or not, any given Sunday, if we're not there in cameras, get him up and he can go. That's his family. Come on. I don't see the judgment there like that they'll judge him. So she said, he is not here. I'm disappointed. She tells us in a confessional that today's not his time, but I keep trusting and believing his time will come. And when it does, he'll be ready. So I understand her in a way, but I wish she had brought her. So we see everybody showing up. All the ladies are showing up one by one. Everybody looks beautiful. Whitney is appropriately dressed. Heather, every single one looks gorgeous. So Whitney and Heather are telling us they've never been to church together. They're riding together in the same car in their best go to Sunday church clothes. They look really pretty. And Whitney's trying to school Heather. There's a church. This is the church where there's reverence, but not the same as like when we go. We're quiet. We can't do this and that. But in Mary's church, what she's saying is when the Spirit of the Lord comes upon my heart, I will dance like David danced. And that is true. Mary's church is a church where they actually praise. So Whitney says she's shocked that she has been invited back to Mary's church. Production shows us when Whitney lied on Mary and was insinuating there is a cult leader. It's probably true. Mary's church is no more a cult than the Mormons, okay? It's an offshoot of that because Mormons, as everybody knows, this is in their past, Black people were thought of as cursed and they were looked down on within the church. I don't even know that they were really members. They was treated a different way. So that's just what that was. And Whitney is surprised to be invited back after lying on Mary and her church. So if the Mormons are not a cult, Mary's church is not a cult either. And all of that's allegedly and in my opinion, but I believe it is an offshoot of that. Now, Mary Cosby has had some crazy comments in the past about dark-skinned Black men. She can have a personal preference for her life, but I don't like when anyone acts like there's anything more negative or sinister or violent or anything based on someone's skin color. I don't care for that because I think a lot of the lighter skin, and Mary's church did have a lot of light-skinned people. So a lot of them appear to be mixed or light-skinned Blacks. So that may be something to do with some of Mary's views, but if she has reconciled that, I'm good with Mary. She's no longer saying anything ignorant in public, so I can live with that. And I'm glad all the ladies were dressed respectfully for Mary's church because we don't need to see all that skin and nips and all this today. That wouldn't be funny or respectful. Everyone looks very good. The Salt Lake Cities are getting looks from the congregation like they're glad they're there. A lot of curiosity. I love us. I love church and how we are. So they're kind of looking at the ladies. They're greeting everybody. Cannot remember the lady's name. I feel like she's a deacon or something or a fellow preacher. She's like, her and Angie K greet each other. They're jumping around in the circle, hugging. So everybody's glad to see the ladies. They get all together in a group and Heather, bad weather, or Whitney and Heather strikes again. They start wondering and speculating whether or not Meredith and Lisa are coming. So they walk up together, honey, and they look cute. Meredith had a little short skirt on, a cute little Chanel looking suit. She's in a boot, y'all. Remember she sprained her toe? It's actually real. Toe never got better, so it was sprained when she hit it. Her other shoe is not like a high heel shoe. You'll see some people wearing heels with the boot. No, she's got on like, might have been a stiletto or something, little gold sandal. Lisa is in a gorgeous black dress, one of the straight style dresses. So as she walks up, they're looking at her like, oh, we can't believe you're here. Meredith gets in a confessional and says, I've been a long supporter of Mary. Of course I'm here. I can't believe that some of them are here. So I don't blame her. Welcome in, Sharon Gobble. Thank you so much for coming in during the live review. We are at the church scene. This is Salt Lake City, Utah, season 6, episode 10. So we're getting back into Mary's church. She found out Robert Jr. was high already in the car. So to protect him, she didn't bring him in. I felt like he could have come, because come one, come as you are, come one, come all. But she told her cousin that, yeah, I gotta protect him. So I understand why she didn't. Now I feel like that's okay. Lisa and Heather showed up along with everybody else. So Kiwan JTV is speaking to Sharon. Say, hey, Miss Sharon. So thank you, thank you. So I feel like, I don't know, he could have come. She left him home, so that's okay. They're all standing around looking at Lisa. Lisa gets in her cowboy hat confessional, and I guess it's okay because she's not on church grounds, but she's cursing about the scene. Lisa said, I don't give a F what any of them think. I'm tired of explaining myself to people, and yeah, I'm here. So I'm glad that Lisa showed up at church, okay? She definitely needs it. They both denied everything that happens on the plane. We already know they try to reshape the narrative, and I fully believe that they did bully Britney. I think Bronwyn was lucky to not be there because she would have definitely been involved as well. And the degree that they went to, Britney says, pulling hair, letting wine spill on her, kicking her seat, yelling out things about her so that the whole first class could hear. Those are the things she said. Now, she has said until they take accountability, she doesn't know if there's a step forward. Whitney has said the same thing, as has Heather. But like I said, I don't think Lisa can be frozen out. I don't think Meredith can be frozen out. So it's going to come up at the reunion. They're going to argue about it. But I think those two will dig 10 toes down and not admit to anything. So, like I said, I think Meredith might have had something else going on and may not remember. Lisa remembers and just don't give a daggone. And she's not gonna admit it, okay? So she's saying, let's see, they all are invited into the sanctuary. They fellowshipped out front. Everybody is in attendance with the exception of Britney. Now, did Mary invite Britney? We know Mary doesn't like Britney, but I wonder if she invited her. I think Britney would have enjoyed it. Britney has a great singing voice. That was one of the surprises at Bravo. They showed a lot of clips. They didn't want us to talk about current season or ask questions about current season. So they brought up Unicorn thing themselves. So we're going to hear most of that about the reunion, at the reunion. But I wonder if Mary invited Britney, because Mary has made it clear she doesn't like Britney, but I think Britney would have gone. She sees all these ladies as a group of friends, and then she even told Mary, I love you too, even though Mary refused to record anything on the recorder with her little stuffed animal. Mary's church is lit. Mary's band, the church band is playing. They are shouting. They're doing the praise dance. This is my kind of church. It's one of when the Spirit of the Lord comes upon my heart, I will dance like David danced churches. This is one of the churches I grew up in. Now, we didn't do all that, but we didn't sit there either and not able to say anything. So Whitney is pointing out, oh my goodness, look at the gold mic. Mary had a solid gold mic, y'all. Look at the bedazzled Bible. Now, Whitney, you're doing a lot. I didn't see that the Bible was bedazzled. I think it was a Bible cover. So Angie's in a confessional. She says, Mary is glowing. She is in her element. I know so much about her, but this is the most important part of her life. So I loved it. Sharon Gobble, I love Mary's church too. I give a lot of respect to Mary on that church, because they try to otherize her and talk about her church and insinuate cult type things. But every time they do that, I'm going to bring up, it's probably an offshoot of the Church of Mormon, who everybody knows there are a lot of people, not me, that consider that or elements of the Church of Mormon cult-like. A lot of people think that. Them long underwear, all kind of stuff. So they better be careful with Mary in that church. I don't believe that about her church. I loved it. The band, the dancing, all of that. Mary takes the mic. The mic squeaks. She was like, oh, this mic is pretty good. The church is already laughing. They love themselves some Mary. So Mary starts preaching. I thank God I got my mind stayed on her. Mary can hoof, y'all. She was preaching. She said she didn't write down a sermon. She is speaking from the heart. And I felt it was really touching. He kept me another day. He gave me another day. I love the part where she called all the women what they wanted. So Confessional Mary says she feels like she came into the world to be a messenger for God. She hasn't written anything down. So she's just speaking to the people, to her friends from the heart. And I'm with Sharon. I love Mary's church, what they showed us of the church. And it's a welcome back to all the members. They haven't met in that building. There have been renovations going on. So I guess they're dedicating the building and all that. Mary's preaching. Lisa is crying. We see Meredith starts to get a little touched. Heather's doing her little praise dance. Heather's having a great time at church. And Mary's preaching. Sometimes you have to do the right thing. Production showing us Mary. Say the right thing, no matter where you are. She said, when you leave the earth, the only thing you have is your soul. Is your soul right? So it's touching the ladies. It's touching me. I said, go ahead, Mary. I loved it. She said, whatever you want, I pray God gives it to you. I receive all this, Mary. Whatever you need, God's going to give it to you. Mark my word. She said, Bronwyn, your situation, God got you in that situation. Bronwyn started crying. We get a confessional from Bronwyn, and Bronwyn said, I've been going through so much with my mother and my father, their health problems, Todd and I's relationship, everything in my life. But I believe now that God does have me and all my situations, and everything is going to turn out for the best. I think that too, Bronwyn. I think things will turn out for the best. Whether she's to be with Todd or not, I think she's outgrown Todd, y'all. They've been married, what she said, 11 years. And I told y'all, Bronwyn has said, oh, she's pushing 40. She's not even 40 yet. This girl's 39 years old. Todd is on upwards in his 60s. He can't even make out. He can't even cheat without Putin on somebody. Sitting over here farting, trying to, don't get me started on Todd. So Bronwyn got peace from Mary based on what's going on. And I hope that if she needs to leave, she can go ahead and leave. And she has the platform to do so. She has an income coming in. She can get brand deals. I think Bronwyn doesn't need Todd anymore. She's raised Gwen, so she can do what she wants. Yes, Mary can preach. The best preachers, in my opinion, speak from the heart. Sharon, I agree with that too. I can understand the ones that go to ministry school and they sit down and they can write a sermon, but there's something about what they say, let them use you, God using you, and just being able to do that. That's not easy what Mary did. Mary calls out, Heather, wherever you stand in need, God's going to give it to you. And Mary whispered, I love you. She said something to Angie K, and then Angie K said, we love you, Mary. So the congregation was just laughing. Angie K, everybody was really touched. She's, Lisa was really funny. We got another confessional with Lisa. Lisa is hecking that 10-gallon hat. She's something else. Lisa said, I believe that any church, all of them, what they have in similarity, what you need from a church, you can get it from them. You can find joy in all faith, religions in all faith, even in the church of Satan. She said, we make donations. We'll give to anybody. Production said, wait. You're giving to the church of Satan? Lisa looked a little embarrassed, y'all. She said, they ask us for tequila. We give it to them. We don't discriminate. So, y'all, the church of Satan, they have events where they asking Vita tequila for liquor, and she gives it to them. I found that very funny, extremely funny. So Mary's telling Whitney that she's got what she needs. Angie got caught up in the spirit. She shouted out, oh, she told Mary, you're not alone. You're not alone, Mary. And the congregation laughed. Mary needed that, especially having to leave her son home or feeling like she had to leave him home. Because I felt like he could have come on and I would have told production, listen, Robert Cosby Jr., the same way y'all do senior, he don't want to be on camera either. And he could just lay up there amongst his family and his church family. High is Cooter Brown, and he's good. So the band catches the Holy Ghost, y'all. They do a praise break. And Mary, Heather too. Heather got feet too. Heather, they were dancing. So Angie says, Mary is magic. Lisa says, oh, look, Lisa said, I'm about to die from a heat stroke. Here's Whitney. Now, Whitney had a running joke. I didn't think I mentioned it, but what is that they say about whores in church? Now, come on, Whitney, talking about garden tools. When we get started on you, she don't like it. So she kept bringing up this joke about Meredith and Lisa are going to burst into flames if they come to church. And they came in bold and proud. Lisa got very, very hot, but she didn't, of course, burst into flames. But I thought it was really funny when Lisa says, I'm hot, I'm about to burn up. They've got the church fans. And Whitney looked at her and was like, what did I tell you? So Whitney found that funny, and I did too. So she said, church is where you get deliverance, where you find peace. Mary says, I hope they get what they came for. They came for hope. Hope they find answers today. And that is the goal. It ends in a prayer circle. Y'all, this could have been a finale. Todd is something else. I'm telling you, when Bronwyn looks back and sees she don't need that man eating all this ice cream and Putin and embarrassing her in public, get rid of him. Sharon says, I love Mary and Angie's friendship. I do too. And you can see that Angie even puts Mary on a higher pedestal at this point. So I love the fact that they ended in the prayer circle. That was the end of the episode. Excuse this long review, but because we just had BravoCon last week, and there were little asides that I had to drop in that I felt were related. Thank you for your patience during that. So during the preview we see for next week, Heather, for some reason, has her heels on somebody's mattress. And she was like, oh, I'm scared. I think I tore the box spring, or she said, broke the box spring. She took off her stiletto, and production zooms in on her ashy foot like she been kicking flour. Heather, this is a disgrace. You're too grown for this. Can y'all start please using lotion? There's a whole TikTok telling certain people how to shower and how to moisturize and all this. This is serious now. It's not funny. It's not cute. We've had this conversation, okay? So Heather, before you put them heels on and red bottoms and all this, and you get out the shower, start while you're still damp. Moisturize. That's all. And production, why are y'all doing Heather like this? This is a mess. So we get another scene in the preview. Whitney's going to tell Meredith that what she witnessed was hate. Y'all, Meredith, I believe her that she don't really remember. Now, Lisa, I feel like Lisa's just lying, and I think she remembers. But they are not letting these ladies off the hook, y'all. And then next, we're also going to get a Britani and Meredith showdown. So we'll see what's going to happen. Yeah, Heather is a trip. I saw her too. She is very, very thin. So I think something was going on with the shots as far as the weight loss shots. This is just speculation, in my opinion. But Heather is very, very thin. Very pretty. Something about the way she holds her mouth is kind of like an inbred type thing, as Mary Cosby likes to say. I agree with her on that. I think I'll do a photo dump and just show like whatever pictures I were able to get of certain ones. But this was a very good episode. Andy Cohen, during one of his lives, he said this was one of the realest and probably his favorite episode of the season. Now, we are like preseason, so we got a few more episodes left, and we got the reunion, which I knew was going to be 3 parts. And what's big is going to factor in the yacht, how the ladies acted, and then on the ride home and the aftermath. So we'll see what's going to happen. Heather is also another one, very popular. She had a beautiful beauty labs space set up. Her book, all of her books. Gertie had her book out for sale. Gertie had Russell with her. Gertie was signing books. I didn't get a signature or anything because I pre-ordered the book. I have pre-ordered my book. I'll show you quickly Gertie's setup. This is Gertie 5. She had a section with her book in it. I pre-ordered my book, and I want to go to one of Gertie's live signings. So when I receive my book, I will go ahead and find Gertie and have her sign my book. So yes, Heather is a trip. These ladies are a trip. I'll give the episode a 10 because they started out kind of, we get a little house party. The ladies have just real conversations about the end of their Canawan trip, embrace Britani, try to make that situation right, even though I think Bronwyn's doing it for her own purposes. We need to see more from Meredith. We need to see more from Lisa, because whether or not Meredith remembers, and I don't think she actually remembers, Meredith does know if something happened. She's seen the episode by now. Now, nobody filmed the plane ride, so we'll see. You gave it a 10 also? Yeah, see, there you go. I told you they were that girl at BravoCon. Everybody knows this. These ladies are giving it all they got. And then you end with a church service and a prayer circle and praise dancing and Mary Cosby in a red dress with a collar and a solid gold mic. 10, 10, 10. No notes, okay? So I appreciate everybody that joined me during the live. If you come for the team replay, thank you. Press the like button. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. And I will see you in the YouTube streets. I'm going to put together something where I just debrief everything about BravoCon. Thank you so much, CC. We will end on CC having a blessed day, everyone, and I hope everyone does the same. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra.